Hi, I'm Jaclyn Ringstmeier, Executive Director of the Greater Medina Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for joining us today to watch our annual Candidates Forum. We do this event in partnership with Medina TV, and I'm here today with General Manager Jarrod Fry.
Thank you, Jaclyn. You will notice today, as Jaclyn and I do not have our mask on, and as I interview these candidates, I will not be wearing a mask, nor will the candidates. We are following all the Department of Health guidelines in regards to spatial distancing, and with being on air and doing a broadcast, masks are not required.
All candidates in local contested races were invited to participate in these interviews. This forum is designed to inform the voting public of their choices in the upcoming election.
The views and opinions stated by the candidates during the course of these interviews are not necessarily those of Medina TV and the Greater Medina Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you for joining us today, and thank you for exercising your right to vote in the upcoming election. Enjoy the Candidates Forum.
Joining us now in studio is Kim Oliver, the candidate for Medina County Juvenile Probate Judge. Kim, thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Why don't you first start, just to let the voters and the residents know, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Personally?
Yes.
Oh, I am a resident of Medina County. I live in Medina Township. I've been a resident here for about 8 years, but I've worked here for years before relocating. Come from a big family. My parents are deceased. My dad was a steel mill worker, Korean War veteran. My mother was a homemaker. I have 3 sisters, 3 brothers, one of which is deceased. I have no children, but I have 13 nieces and nephews and 11 greats.
Oh, wow.
So
plenty to keep you busy when you're at home visiting with everyone.
That's correct.
Could you tell us a little bit about the role of what a juvenile probate judge does?
Well, the juvenile probate court is very interesting. It handles issues from beginning of life to end of life. So you have adoptions, you have unplanned pregnancies, you have delinquencies, dependent, neglected abuse, truants, you have estates, you have land sales, you have guardianships over those who can no longer make decisions for themselves, and you have the mentally ill situations. So it covers everything in
a broad range, yes.
A broad range of things.
So I guess, what do you think is probably the biggest problem, if elected, that you would face as a judge?
I would think that even though the caseload in the specific area is lower than, say, estates, I would think the particular problem would be in the realm of juvenile justice with the delinquencies. Juvenile justice is developing just as, the justice system in the adult side. And I'm very sensitive to issues like school to prison to pipeline. So I think that will be most challenging to reverse the trend in which the juvenile justice system is going. I think that, I don't know if you've ever seen the Juvenile Detention Center or even the YDC, the Juvenile Correction Centers. They're becoming more and more like prisons to me than when I started 30 years ago. So that's a concern.
So I guess, if elected, what would be, I know of course one of the main jobs there, you rule on issues or juveniles that come into the system, but what would be 3 type of projects or 3 things you would like to see done during your term?
The first thing would be a revamping of community service. I am not a person who believes that community service is something that should be done if you are adjudicated delinquent. I think that mowing lawns is a household chore. Community service is more of what people do, like the organizations in the community that have, and they reach out to help those who have not. You're invested in the community, you're supporting your community. So I would like to see more community service projects for at-risk youth that will make them feel attached to the community as opposed to just doing something because that's what they have to do. And it doesn't really impact their lives, in my opinion.
Okay, and What do you, now are there any other priorities that you'd like to see done?
The other priorities are, I'm looking at the guardianships. I practice in juvenile and probate court.
Okay.
So when I first started 30 years ago, you used to see elderly people who needed the guardianship. Mm-hmm. But now you're starting to see younger people being hospitalized due to accidents, due to substance abuse issues. So I would like to sort of expand on what's there now to address what's going on today. Mm-hmm. In a different way than it was 30 years ago, where the people there were pretty much different.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you see in the juvenile side of things, I know Common Pleas has their own set of systems, but in the juvenile side, do you feel that there is still continues to be or is an opioid or drug problem?
I would think so.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it goes away tomorrow and people are still using. And that's part of the problem. When people use drugs, everything falls apart, including family.
Mm-hmm. So, and I guess one of the issues with the courthouse, that's one of the big issues right now on the ballot. Mm-hmm. In fact, the city has, the voters are going to be voting on the city aspect of the project.
Correct.
With the building of the courthouse or renovations. What are your opinions, or what do you think the needs are for the juvenile side for this courthouse project?
For the courthouse project, and my background is in legal services and representing most vulnerable in society. So for me, starting my career to legal services, you had to be fiscally responsible, and it's more important to me to have funding available for services than it is for me to have a specific type of courtroom. I think that the court should be functional and safe, but I don't need anything fancy, and I'll leave that decision to the voters and the commissioners.
Mm-hmm. And now, in terms of some of the other issues, we kind of talked a little bit about the drug problem, but there seems to be a movement both with social injustice in regards to the LGBTQ community, mm-hmm. and then also the racial injustice that we're facing as a nation, state, and local level. What are your thoughts in terms of the court in regards to any of these issues?
The court's job is to administer justice, mm-hmm. and I think that I read a quote, I can't remember the person who said it, but the quote was, some people think that wealth makes a better society, some people believe that, education makes a better society, and those are all true, but justice makes the best society, where all people are treated equally, they have equity extended to them, they have the resources available to improve their lives, and they have the support of the court in its role of being just.
And so would you, I guess you kind of talked about this a little bit in some of your answers, some of your experience and expertise and leadership and skill set. What do you feel differs you from your opponent in regards to those?
I think that my commitment to this type of work sets me apart. I'm not running for this office just to be a judge. I'm running for this office because along the way, my life experiences, my legal education, my work in the community has solidified my ideals in helping keep children safe, the community safe, and strengthening families. I started off in my career 30 years ago as a child advocate attorney, and there I represented abused, neglected, independent children. In private practice, I've represented delinquents. I've served as a guardian ad litem. I've represented people in probate court. And so every step of the way, except for 18 months where I decided I wanted to try something different, and I became general counsel for a corporation, logistics corporation, mm-hmm. quickly realized that's not where my heart was. And I realized that for me, community service is also public service. And this is the best way in which I can give back to the community.
Oh, great. Now, do you have any type of goals or establishment or things you'd like to see in terms of programs that help the juveniles that come into the system?
I do. I am an alumna of Leadership Medina, mm-hmm. class of 2019. And when I went through that program, I realized just how many organizations out there that could be utilized to assist youths, or families. Mm-hmm. And I would like to base my programming on my theory that community service is giving to people in need to help them get back on track. So there are a couple of organizations I have in mind. I haven't reached out to them yet, a little bit premature, but.
Okay, great. Again, we're speaking with Kim Oliver, the candidate for Medina County Juvenile Probate Judge. And I guess, Kim, I want to give you the opportunity. I know you were great and gracious to answer a lot of my questions, but I want to give you the opportunity to speak directly to the voters. So I'll turn the microphone over to you, and you can talk directly to them.
Thank you. Good morning, Medina County. My name is Kimberly Oliver. I'm running for Medina County Juvenile Probate Court Judge. I'm here because I'm asking for your vote because I am accountable, I am committed, I am experienced, and this is where my heart is, and I believe that I could do the best for this community if elected as Medina County Juvenile Probate Court. So on November 3rd, remember me, Kimberly Oliver, for Judge. Thank you.
Thank you. Once again, Kim Oliver, the candidate for the Medina County Juvenile Probate Judge. I always love to do a handshake, but in these times I can just kind of do an elbow or a fist bump there. Exactly.
Fist bump.
And I wish you the best of luck this November.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.